Welcome in, beautiful souls. So we have the question today, or actually, your guides are asking you to accept their guidance today. And they just want to let you know where you are on your spiritual path and what you really need to focus or work on. And that will lead you to fulfillment and happiness. So we have the 3 birds. These are phoenix birds. So you're going through transformation with all these birds. All these birds are transformational birds. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. Just the one that you're drawn to the most is your main message. And you can pick more than one. These are all timeless. Whenever you find it, it's the right time for you. And if you need a little bit more time, you can just pause the video and make your pick. And try not to overthink it. Just kind of go with your first intuition. Like go with your first, what you're drawn to. Okay, I'm going to begin now. Welcome in, Group 1. So I have brought out some, or your guides had me bring out some oracle decks. And this is the dragon deck. So for this group here, when I pulled the deck down, it split on the 7 of Cups. So, and it was funny too, because 7 of Cups, it had a phoenix bird at the very top cup. So they also want me to bring out one of these light guidance cards to read to you at the end of the reading. There's supposed to be an activation in this card, so we'll you're going through a transformation with these birds here. All these groups are, but we're going to see what your guide needs for Group 1 to know. Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen that card before. All right, so let's begin. Okay, so we're going to, what number is that? Number 20. We're going to set that aside here for now. And we're going to move the bird over here. And this is give and forgive. Give and forgive. All right, so we're going to pull out some of them in a bit. Let's start with this one here. Sword of light on the bottom, divine protection, cords cut, breakthrough energy. Yeah, with this phoenix rising here. Wow, what the hell? Hathor light codes. Wow. A lot of those colors are in this too. Like you see these colors, they're similar. Light immersion, full system upgrade, power recall. So you've done something here with your energy. And I'm just going to speak a little bit about this card because, like everything is energy. So I think you could be, or maybe that's your next step, is to be surrendering to the flow of the energy. Because when you surrender to the flow of energy, it allows abundance to come to you. Do you remember like when you were a kid and it was so easy to forgive people? Like if your friend did something to you and they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. And you're just like, you stand there for a second and then you forgive them. You're like, okay, let's go play. And then you run off and go swing or push each other on the swing or whatever. Children have that forgiveness, that ease of it. And how and when that changes, maybe it's because, we spend a lot of time being hurt or, people take advantage of us. And it changes our, over time, it gets harder and harder to forgive, because you feel like you start to become like a doormat, right? But the problem is, anyone that interrupts the flow of energies, it will destroy any chances of their abundance. So this is all about like finding that balance, right? And also to remember, like, forgiving is a higher form. Okay, so forgiving is a higher form of giving. And it's basically a walk. It's to mastery, right? So this could be like a path of mastery that you're going on. And if you're allowing the flow, that allows them to bring in more light codes. So, you know, you could be receiving well, it says here you're going to be receiving a full system upgrade, power recall. You know, and on the bottom here too, it's I am presence, light body activation, accessing the divine within. So that is the forgiveness that you're going through. So you're not only, you know, the forgiveness of others isn't for them, right? It's not for them to, you know, get further in life, to feel better about themselves. No, it's for your advancement only. Okay. Yeah, you might have gone through a time of uncertainty. Let me deeply trust. May I live in the now and relax peacefully into the unfolding, knowing all the pieces of the puzzle will fall into place at the right time and not a moment before. I think you're leaning more into your spiritual, you're leaning more into the guidance of your angels and your guides and trusting more in the universe, letting go, surrendering what you cannot change and working more from within, what you can change within you. And that's bringing all these extra codes. That's bringing in these light codes. Okay, Spirit. Let's pull a few cards here. Oh. It's one of them. Oh, freedom. Brings freedom, yes. Change me, divine beloved, into one who can love myself in every condition. Free me from self-torture. Fill me with self-acceptance and worthiness. May I allow the honor of all my feelings, however they arise. I love myself. Yeah, you know, I think that's probably what's happened, is that you've learned to love yourself finally. You've been able to forgive yourself, I heard. You're not only, you're learning to forgive yourself. Okay, let's see here. Well, it says, say yes. Now is the time to be open and receive. Because that's what this card is. It's all about giving and receiving, right? It's all about that, the flow. If you give, you receive. Okay, let's see here. It's on the bottom. Angels are watching over you, supported, protected, loved, and encouraged. You know, they're bringing up a lot about this time, too. I wonder if you have something to do with group 2. I wouldn't be surprised if you've chosen group 2. Let's see, what's on the bottom here again? Say yes. Angels are watching over you. And what was this one again? The freedom. Okay. Let's see here. There's a few of these they want to bring out. Patience. What's on the bottom of that one? The I am presence. You want this card. You know, I know they wanted me to bring out this one too. It's solar light upgrade, which is solar plexus chakra, the inner fire, the willpower. Yeah, you really need to have that willpower to, okay, you want these three? The willpower to find that forgiveness, to look within yourself, to realize that, you know, people are where they are and they can only love you to the ability that they can love, you know, love themselves, right? Okay. Oh, I guess we're going to take all three of them. It's on the bottom here. Inspiration. Yeah, something's inspired you. I don't know what that could be. Okay, so let's just begin with those and then we'll pull out some tarot cards. Acceptance, right? Look, I accept myself. That's exactly what happened. Let me love and accept myself as you love me. May I find you shining brightly within my own being. Yeah, that's exactly Spirit. You deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. Yeah, I think that at some time, I think at some point, I think you held a lot back. You know, maybe always concerned about what other people think of you or thought of you, or, you know, the ridicule. A career transition, no joke. A change, excitement, opportunity, and advancement. There's a door being opened here, and this is divinely guided. You know, I don't think it's going to be that 9 to 5 grind that, you know, this is going to be something you really love. You know, you have number 17 here. That's a very divine guided number. You know, it breaks down to an 8, and 8's all about abundance. Six is about freedom, but 42 breaks down to a 6, which is about freedom again. So you have freedom twice here. Okay, let's see what they have here. Assurance. Detachment. Emerging. You know, just like the phoenix here, you're emerging a whole new way of being. Okay, so sounds like you've done a lot of inner work, and now you're going to receive. You've surrendered to the energies. Now you're going to see, we're getting a lot of solar upgrades too. We've even had a lot of solar, what do you call those, bursts, or solar flares? Yeah, thanks, Spirit. I see a lot of light coming here for you. You know, I see how this is like uplifting. You see the arms are open, just like the wings on this phoenix. You know, the wings on this bird also. Yeah. You know, I think you come from a lot of, had a lot of turbulence in your life, a lot of upheaval. And I think that's why you're so supported and protected and loved. Because, you know, this card here is that the angels here, the angels are watching over you. You're supported, you're protected, you're loved, and you're encouraged. So you know, this is about this, you know, she's wearing, so I think these angels, these 3 angels are working on these particular chakras right now. So your throat chakra, you know, and he has a watch in his hand. So I really think that, this is like all in perfect timing too. She's wearing this robe, and she has these coins here, which is about the abundance. And that's what the Phoenix card is all about, is surrendering to the flow of the energy to allow the abundance. So I think with all this forgiving of, the people that have hurt you, and forgiveness of yourself, and accepting who you are, all of these things are triggering this new doorway and these upgrades. Okay, so let's pull out a few tarot cards here. Let's just give a little bit of a shuffle. Okay. With that Seven of Cups, I think you've had to make a lot of decisions. You've had to see through a lot of illusions. Okay, I guess we'll take that one since it flew out. Okay. This card didn't want to be picked up here. Page of Swords. Let's see what this one is. Six of Pentacles. This is that giving and receiving, just like we were talking about the whole thing. Both the give and forgive. It's that giving and receiving of energies. It's beautiful. See this butterfly on the Page of Swords here with this, again, with the transformation. I think that, with this sword too, I think you might have to cut a lot of people out of your life. And I think you're somebody that's very intelligent. You're very spiritually intelligent. You have a lot of thirst for information. I mean, you could be really restless at this time too, because I see that this dragon also has his wings open. Same with this one here. I think that you're just eager to get on with things. Like bring in the abundance, finish this transformation, but it's all in timing. Like it has to be all in timing. Look, the Page of Pentacles. These are new opportunities coming in though. This is about manifesting. This is really good news here. I see that there's a bat here in this cave. This is a lot about your intuition. Just keep following that intuition. Okay, I'm going to bring out a few clarifiers for this, though, here. Yeah, okay, so the card of, this is an assurance here, the Six of Pentacles here. This is going to be something that your guides and your angels are assuring you of this giving and receiving here, the Six of Pentacles. And then the detachments with the Page of Swords. I think this is a detached from the energy, from the when's it going to happen? Like, how long is it going to take? That kind of energy. I think that's where you have to detach from that kind of energy and just stay as rooted as you can. Keep cutting out people that, if they don't share your energy, or they don't, if they're just like takers or whatever, they, you can't give away you maintain your peace, right? These chakras are still being worked on, I believe. So you have your solar, your throat, and your crown here. And when these upgrades happen, it takes time to integrate those, to activate more of your intuition. So that's why it says like emerging, and you have this cave underneath here, so you are eventually going to be emerging from this cave when you're ready. It's all about the divine timing. Just like I think that middle card had something about timing. There's a clock on that too, the second group. So you might actually might have been attracted to that one too. The Page of Pentacles. This is like good news, though. This is something new. Good news is coming. So there's like this change and excitement. You know, you have that many times here because you have the give and forgive is about that. Well, the bird, the phoenix is about transformation. You have the butterfly that also represents that change. Yeah. You know, bears could be something that you see a lot of or resonate with. Also birds. I see that there's a, you know, a bird here. You know, this deer here, this, and it has the horns, so I would assume that that's like a young stag. This, you know, represents like a leadership type position. Just like, you know, this woman here, she's like a leader here, but she's dropping this bag. You know, you've dropped whatever it is that you surrendered. You just finally surrendered it. You just let it go. And now it's leading you to a whole new way of being. Not that it's not going to be difficult, because I'm sure, like I see, you know, she's got Kleenex here and she's been like studying a lot, and, you know, that is represented again. You know, the Page of Pentacles is, you know, about this, you know, it talks about like, this is about like a new career, and then you have this career transition. You know, this is also, this Page of Pentacles, it's about, you know, like maybe going through like a new training or some kind of new, like opportunities, and you're manifesting something new, something about your skills. And then it's here too, like, you know, she has a computer, she has all these books, she's, you know, she gets frustrated, you know, like, when's it going to happen? You know, am I just going to be studying all the time? And, you know, in the Page of Swords too, the Page of Swords, that's about, you know, a thirst for information, being a student, being an intellectual pursuit. Also, you know, you're very curious, and you could be very restless at this time. And that could be what's bringing on these emotions. With the solar upgrades above it too, that can create a lot of, okay, I'm going to just bring out a few clarifiers here. These solar flares, they really do be messing with people. You know, the moon cycles too. I saw the moon here. The moon, you know, in the moon here in the tree, you know, the moon can really mess with our emotional well-being at certain times of the month with the energy of the moon here. Yeah, this is where you've come from, this Three of Swords. Yeah, this is where you've come from. And the Ace of Swords, this is all about truth. This is breaking open a new, all this pain that you've gone through, you've transformed. This is where you've come from, and you've learned to forgive. This is really beautiful. You've come from all this pain, and you've learned to give and receive here. So you have the Page of Swords, and then you have the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords, this is all, you know, truth of God. This, you know, this broke you open here. This is all that clarity. You know, it's a lot about communication too. See, I'm breathing this flame here. And again, they're showing this solar. That's your power. That's your inner power that they're talking about. Oh my gosh, on the bottom is the star. You're emerging the star. Look at that. And there's a red bird on that tree. It actually looks like a phoenix. No, it doesn't. Again, with the wings open. So you're completely surrendering. You know, the Star card is all about how far you've come from the healing. It's all about the hope. You merge anew. This is the North Star, too. You know, this is where you've allowed, you know, with this intuition, I think that you've just followed your intuition to get you here. Yeah, the Three of Pentacles, look at that. Being the teacher and the student. Wow, Spirit. Okay, so let's read this card, number 20. Wow, all these colors, they're really vibrant here. I don't know if the camera does them justice, though. Let's see what number 20 is. See what they want to tell you here. The unscripted journey. Yeah, this is a path that you probably would have never thought you would be on. But they have me set it out here on this one here with this. Okay, so the path you now tread is a delicious confluence of divine destiny and unscripted spontaneous life. To embrace this journey, remember that change can bring blessings. You may be surprised at how much you can now leave behind without feeling concerned or anxious. You're just letting it go. Beautiful, Spirit. You will be able to travel lighter, that's funny, than you have ever imagined. Just as the butterflies leave the chrysalis, look at the butterfly there, behind, leaves the chrysalis behind when it is time to spread its newly formed wings. So shall you be ready to discard what you once held within. You can then expand in accord with the natural evolution of your soul. The past has served a purpose. Oh, I feel really emotional. You can feel good about what has been and about where you are headed. This oracle, where you are heading, sorry. This oracle brings confirmation of a significant change taking place in your life, according to the inner timing and awakening of the soul. Trust in the natural timing of your emergence. You know, and I kept bringing up about the time, right? Wow, Spirit, this is beautiful. I hope this video finds you well, and I hope your guides have really been able to help you out with this, to, you know, explain the little things and maybe what's going on. And, you know, they're always here to guide you. They're always here to teach you, and they're always here to bring you these messages to, you know, encourage you on your path. So I'm going to send you all my love and light, and I hope this video finds you well. Bye, everyone. Welcome in group 2. So let's move this out of the way here. So take the next step. Now see, there's a clock here, so there's timing. When I did the reading for group 1, I referred to this group, though I haven't done the reading yet, so I don't know. You could actually be attracted to the card in group 1 as well. So we're going to see, though. So they want me to bring out one of these cards here. It's going to be an activation card for you. And there's information at the end. They'll have me read it at the end. So let's just pick out a card and see what that activation card is going to be and what information that your guides want you to know. I don't know which one. Hold on. This one. Look at that. Wow. Looks like a portal to me. Like a sunburst of colors. Activating your... Oh, maybe they're going to activate your Kundalini or something. There's going to be a change coming in here for you. You know, here's something funny. When I finished shuffling the last deck, this card was on the bottom, and I just finished, it's on the bottom again. I wouldn't be surprised if that's for group 3. Okay, so what's this? Number 24. I'm just going to set this aside so we can pick out some more oracle cards. And I brought out my dragon deck for this. So it's time to make a decision with the clock here. You know, I also see that there's like this portal here, like emerging into a new existence or way of being or something here. Okay, let's pull out some more cards here. I think it's time to shake things up. You know, you may need to be asking yourself some questions, or asking questions to the universe, asking your guides questions. You know, your answers, when you ask questions to the universe, you know, the answers will flow to you through your thoughts, through your words, through deeds. All of those things will guide you to your answer. The problem being with that is you'll need to make time for that, because when, you know, maybe because this is like coming on to like 12 o'clock noon, maybe that's your lunchtime or something. Maybe take your lunch alone, sit in your car, maybe sit at a park bench, and tune into those, because what happens is you can easily miss those answers. You could miss all that. And like, if you tune into those energies, the hustle and bustle of, you know, work, it can really make you miss the guidance that your guides are trying to feed you, trying to give to you. You know, notice how this bird is like really red, and you know, so I think you might need a lot of grounding before you tune in. Okay, Spirit. This card doesn't want to come out. It's fighting me. It's on the bottom here. The Order of Melchizedek. Embraced by light. Mission uncovered. Don't give up. You know, maybe you're really struggling with getting your answers. Your guides don't want you to give up. So there's a heart chakra opening. You know, I noticed that there's like this gateway here. And then they're showing like another, almost like another gateway here. So it says the heart chakra opening, unlocking generosity. You're not unlocking generosity. It's just unlocking. You're unlocking something. They don't want you to give up. Okay, I'm going to take one more card here. Okay. The Temple of Truth, throat chakra, authenticity, self-expression. Yeah, you have to be true to yourself. You have to ask those hard questions. We're going to pull out a few of those too. Okay, we're going to go with these three here. All right, let's pull out one of these. Accept what is on the bottom. The act of acceptance will bring peace. Okay, whoa. Wow. It's time to celebrate. cultivate an air of celebration today. You know, I see this full moon here. This could be something that, look, and accept what is on the bottom again. Okay. They're splitting it. You deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. You know, that came out in group 1. I'm pretty sure that you might be connected to group 1. Okay. These cards. Okay, let's see what we have here. You know, again, this is like a, you know, this kind of gives me like this portal thing here of light. You know, and I notice a lot of the colors are the same as it is here with the Melchizedek. Melchizedek is a priest, like God's true priest. You're being embraced by light. Mission uncovered. Don't give up. You know, this is all about being ready for the change here. So that's why I think that with this full moon, the next full moon, or the next couple full moons or something, because, you know, I see that they have another full moon in this picture too. And they're showing like this North Star quite a bit as well. Okay, Spirit. Your desires are within reach. Faith, patience, excitement, relief. Yeah, she's just like, yeah, just like here, it's time to celebrate. You know, she's wearing red too. Number 44, that's a master number. Okay, let's move these over here. Let's see what your guide wants to tell you here. It's on the bottom. Competition. I am yours alone. Change me, divine beloved, into one who can trust that you alone are the source for all. Free me from the illusions of scarcity and competition. Let me trust that all needs are always richly met. I am yours alone. You know what I was saying, how like you need to spend a little bit of time, you know, to take your lunch in your car, or go sit on a park bench or something. You know, I think, you know, like this water here where it's like rapidly, you know, coming through this river and swirling and whirling, you know, I think this represents, you know, all the hustle and bustle of the world, of life, and how it really can take you and get you into your thoughts to the degree that you can't access the answers that you're looking for. Okay, so that can go there, and I'm going to pull out a few of these here, and then we're going to get these upside down here. Integration, change. Look at that. That's what this has all been about. Be ready for change. The balance and allow. You have way more cards for this group too. Emerging. You know, that it was in the last reading too. You know, I mean, look at all these cards, right? So for the same cards to pop out in another reading, which I said was related to this one, or possibly could be. I mean, just take what resonates, because you know, only maybe certain things resonate, because, you know, this is for the collective, so it's for a lot of Venusian Galactic Council. Look at that. And, you know, that card was at the bottom of the deck when I did the last reading. Star being guides. Answer the call. Time to shine. You know what? This is what I was saying. Like, it's time to shake things up. And that you have to answer, like, ask your questions. And to get your answers. And here they are. Answer the call. Well, this is interesting. Holy Grail. Just like I said. The Melchizedek is the priest of the true priests of God, from source, from all that is. Inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. Yeah, because your answers are all within you. You have to listen to, find that, take that time. You know, find that alone time. Oh my God, look at that. And then right underneath is spirit. Connecting, do it in meditation. I am filled with light. Change me, divine beloved, into one who knows my spirit is eternal and ageless. Let me release any old ideas or constriction or limitation. My whole being is filled with joy, energy, and beauty, a vessel for the divine Shakta. I keep getting the number 3 too. And you know, not 3 and 2, but just number 3. You know, in here there's three energies right here. There's 3 energies here, and then there's 3 here. So I'm pretty sure that you had 3 guides around you at this time. Let's see here. Open your heart to love, vulnerability, forgiveness, allowing, and community. Focus on your health, wellness, active, radiant nourishment. You know, and I mentioned how, like, you should take some of that time to get your answers. You can do that through many different ways, like, you know, laying in a field of flowers, like meditation. You know, nature seems to be really, spend a little bit of time under the stars. Might be a real good thing for you to do. Well, the sacred self. I know I am love. Change me, divine beloved, into one who knows my true worth in every moment. Let me experience that I am love. My own sacred self will always draw kindred spirits. It's integration. You know, I think that you're going through a lot of changes right now, and you could be actually struggling with it. You could be like fighting it even. You know, because it's not easy to go through the changes, you know what I mean? Because we do tend to cling to what's familiar. And it's, you know, and our egos will always like force us back into what's familiar because that's where we feel safe, right? So, but where they're talking about like this, take the next step, it's all about timing. It's time. You know, I notice that they're bringing up exercise here quite a bit too, because these are 2 different decks, right? But, you know, the Venusian Galactic Council, they're all love. These beings are love. This is like, they're from Venus, right? So they're, you know, Venus is a planet of love. You know, and of course it comes out, you know, you have this bird here that's, you know, the red, which is like passion and love. You know, this woman here is wearing red. You know, they have this heart here. think you're having a hard time finding time. You know, I think it's all about this self-love that you need to change or accept or integrate. Okay. You know, they're bringing up this change quite a bit here, and how it's all about the balance of the life home thing here. It's got the chariot on the bottom. Okay, so let's just pull out some tarot cards here and see what other information that Spirit wants you to know. Okay, what's on the bottom? Yeah, 3 cups. Look at that, another 3. Could be seeing a lot of 3s. You know, 3 of Cups is all about celebration and friendship. It could represent like a group, friend group, or, you know, they have 3 dragons, 3 cups, and 3 otters here. Okay, so let's see here. So let's just start with this. The sun, no joke. The rest. Yeah. Taking time away from the 10 of Pentacles. This is what's waiting for you. Another 3 dragons here. Well, 3 in the air and then 3 babies here on the bottom. I mean, that could represent 3 children. You know, this is all about truth and clarity. You know, there's even 3 dragons in the sun. 3 is a very significant, you know, and, you know, number 442 is really significant here. So you could be seeing 4s and 3s. These could be these are your angels, your guides, that your 3 guides are letting you know. The 4s represent protection. And 3 is like, it can represent like the Holy Trinity. So it can represent mind, body, and soul, or like mind, body, and soul. It can represent the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I noticed that they have like the Holy Grail and everything out here too. So I think it has to do with the mind, body, and soul, because they're bringing up, and the Holy Grail, it has to do with both. I think they just want you to give yourself more self-love here. You know, the sun is all about illuminating. You know, you can even see like the sunlight hitting the bird's feathers here, the phoenix here, and enlightening this phoenix. Yeah, I think a lot of self-care is being required here, because they're bringing up like exercise and rest, and you know, the 10 of Pentacles, of course, this is all about abundance, right? This is like building like a legacy wealth. I mean, you could have 3 children too. Okay. And then, of course, you have like all the 3 of Cups here. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little bit of clarifiers going on here. Okay, so let's do... oops. Justice. Okay, because I was asking about the sun, like why the sun, like what's going on here with the sun, and they're illuminating the justice there. And see how he's standing on this sword here, and you have the owl and the rat. The owl represents intuition. It represents wise wisdom. You know, and where they're bringing up here about the forgiveness is really, you know, group one really does have a lot to do with this here. Okay, so what's the clarifier for the swords, the four swords? Spirit, what do you want for the four swords? This is all being orchestrated by by divine guidance. Yeah, and this is why you need rest, because of the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is you know, and here you got 3 cups that are spilt, right? You know, this is all that conflict and turmoil that's been going on. But you know, even though there's 3 cups that have been spilt here, you have 2 cups up here just waiting for you. Okay. Is there a clarifier here for the Ten of Pentacles, Spirit? The Ace of Pentacles. So you're going to go from the Ace of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles. And this is like, you know, planting seeds and potential for success. This is manifesting. You know, and all this green, I see it's, you know, it's doing something heart-based. So it's some kind of something that you truly love to do is what I think they're asking you to focus on. Not just self-love, but yeah, it's self-love too. And like your vessel, because it's the only way your vessel is going to be able to integrate all these energies. But you know, this green light just kind of it, and I'm getting like these pangs in my heart, right? So I think they're going to be doing some kind of heart activation for you. They want you to use your heart, like whatever you love the most is what's going to bring you to this Ten of Pentacles. Well, Eight of Pentacles. You know, with all these pentacles, this has a, you know, it makes me think that there could be something going on here with, you know, a lot of going on with the earthly matters. You know, all that hustle and bustle of life, keeping you in your ego. Because it makes you feel like you need to, need more to, you know, to have success, right? This is mastering a skill too, the Eight of Pentacles. You know, I think you're going to be receiving some kind of, if you watch, go back to group one, this reading might make a whole lot more sense to you. You know, then we have on the bottom here, the Ace of Cups. See this nest? It's something that this dragon has been nurturing. You know, the Ace of Cups, this could have something to do with like new connections. Like positive outcomes too. You know, and this is a celebration, so this could actually have to do with like a romantic partner where there's this egg here. I mean, you could already have children, but you might, you know, meet somebody. You might meet them through your kids or something. And you know, this card also is about awakening your heart. I was talking about that heart chakra. New connections even. Okay, Spirit. Yeah, I think you've been really hurt before. You know, I think that you've just been focusing on your family and your children, and, you know, having a small, close, you know, just a group of 3 is kind of all you can manage or muster, you know, because here it shows here with the 9 of Cups. So, you know, this tells me that you've had a lot of heartbreak and struggles, right? And then right underneath here, it is the 6 of Swords, where it's like, you know, you had to move on from the trauma and, you know, find calmer waters. And but, you know, right here, it just seems like this boat is just sitting still. So I think that's like with this Phoenix here, it's like it's ready, you're ready for change. It's time now. It's time to move out of this energy. And then with the Page of Swords, this is all truth. This is truth, right? You know, and then you have the transformation again, which this card was in that last reading as well. Okay, so let's see here. Number 34, which is 7. 24, which is a 6. Ooh. 6 is about freedom. So 24, let's see what this card means here. 24, then I'm going to close the reading. You know, so let go. You know, so let go. You're ready for change. In the ancient forest, spiraling galaxies, and the astonishing caterpillar to butterfly process, Spirit. You know, they brought up about the butterfly when I read one of these cards in the group 1 too. Okay, there is a natural intelligence for growth that is beyond logic. We are governed by an intelligent force so powerful that it literally shapes our world. It is so invisible that we forget its presence and become anxious to figure out how everything must happen and when. This intelligence is within you. You know how to grow without knowing how you know. The answers you need are much closer than you realize, and a lot easier to implement than you fear would have you believe. Relax, lean into your process, and trust yourself. And you know, this is what it was all about with this card. It's about asking your answers. Like, ask your questions to get your answers. Spirit. Oh my gosh. Okay. And you know, that's what fear does. Fear keeps us you know, it keeps us where we feel safe. It's the ego. It's part of the ego. You know, it keeps us in fear so that, you know, it draws us back to always feel like, oh well, I feel safe here, so I'm just going to stay in this energy. But it's time to move on. You know, your guides know that you've suffered a lot. They know that you've gone through a lot of heartache and troublesome, and you know, you've had to really struggle to have financial stability and all that. You know, Spirit knows this. They know everything. So, you know, hopefully you can see what your guides are trying to explain to you today, and how they're going to be with you to guide you, and that your answers are always within. You just need to find some of that, you know, alone time for yourself. Take that time, you know, and be in a little bit of joy. You know, it's all about your self-worth. It's all about your self-love of self, right? And then you're going to be doing this one. Yeehaw, thankfully. And hopefully you won't be, you know, my age when you finally get there. You know what I mean? Anyway, okay, I'm going to send you all my love and light. And I hope this video finds you well. And I hope this guidance from your angels and guides and priests are going to help you here. And with that, I'm going to send you a good day, and sending you all my love and light. Bye, everyone. Welcome in, group 3. Okay, so this is the foundations of love. Okay, so I have the tarot deck here, the Dragon Tarot deck. Oh, what did I just put that on? The Fool. Yeah, it's time. It's ready. Okay, so this is going to be an activation card here with light. And there's a message in this card for the end of the reading. Okay, let's see what your guide wants to tell you here. You know, I just, this deck was on 30 and now it's on number 3. So I don't know if 3s have anything to do with. I don't know which card. This one, okay. Oh, look, there's number 30 again. Okay, this one though. Okay. You know, this almost, as soon as I saw this, it was like, oh, it looks like a rainbow. And then I was like, oh, but then that looks like the ocean. And then I heard, as above, so below. As above, so below. You know, this is an opening of a lotus flower. Okay, let's see what your guides want to tell you here. There's something interesting here they want to tell you. You know, this, the Foundations of Love card here with this Phoenix here. This is about strengthening the love that you have within you for your own self. Yeah, I think you could be battling with your ego at times because, you know, I see they have this hourglass here. So I think some days, you know, you have like, you know, you feel like you have these clouds over you, and then other days you're, you know, you're well-grounded and you're focused. You know, it's about know thyself and accept all that is. Maybe like, you know, because life is so fast going that maybe you need to slow down. You need to slow down your energy, find time to slow things down. You know, see how like this phoenix is just perched and watching. Like I see the tail of another phoenix whizzing by it. You know, it's in the moon too, so you could be getting into your emotions here. You know, the ego too, it keeps us stagnant because when things start to change, you're automatically like, for protection, you're drawn back into like what's familiar to you, right? Well, I just flipped it over, karmic board clearing. Energetic clearing. Rewrite your story. Live your truth. You know, as above, so below. You know, they're talking here about you know, what you put out in the universe. So dealing with these, dealing with this self-love and eliminating a lot of this ego. The ego is it's fear, right? So it's fear-based. You know, you see all, like, and I was saying how, like, some days you feel like you're, you know, in darkness, like there's these clouds over you, and then other days you feel really illuminated. You see how this energy is like rising from this darkness here. Every time you confront your ego, you're confronting the fear. Every time you confront the fear, you grow more self-love. Because it's forgiving yourself, you know what I mean? When you slow things down too, you're able to see the beauty in things. You're able to like notice the smaller things. So you could be noticing a lot of the smaller things in life. Like, you know, maybe you're taking more notice of like flowers and just how beautiful they are, and, you know, maybe not living such a fast life anymore, you know, because the ego, it makes you, it makes all of us, not just you, it makes all of us have that, you know, we need more, we need more, we need more. But in the end of life, you know, we can't take possessions with us. The only thing we will have is that internal love. And that internal love, you know, that'll be the foundation in this world for your next life, right? That's why I heard as above, so below. So what you're anchoring into this world. Okay. You know, it's probably, ooh, it's just the emerald tablet. Cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, conscious manifesting, cosmic order. You know, when you're doing a lot of karmic clearing, you're alchemizing all these energies, you're alchemizing all these emotions, right? You know, this is all about the love of self and building that strong foundation so you know thyself. Oh my gosh, look at that, because it's a soul star activation, fulfilling your soul contracts. This is the karmic board clearing and remembering who you are. And you do that through self-love. Okay, we're going to pull out some of these in a little bit here. Wow, Spirit. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Spend time in nature. You know, that's on the bottom. Spend time in nature, number 34. And then we have Gaia Gateway Activation. You could be somebody that it would help you a lot when you're having these you know, cloudy moments or whatever. You know, and I notice there's clouds here. When you're having those kind of days to get out into nature, spend some time, you know, look at the clouds, you know, be around water, you know, because this bird is over water. They're showing water here. And Gaia is mostly made up of water. They're showing a lot of water here with Gaia as well. You know, rainbows too. I noticed that they're showing a lot of rainbow colors here. You know, and there's rainbow there as well. See the rainbow here? You could be a rainbow child. I see even here on these things here, like these are rainbow colors as well. I think you could be a rainbow child. Conscious manifesting. Okay, let's see here. The emerald tablet is you know, all this green too is about all this heart activations. Okay, Spirit, I'm ready. What do you want here? Oh. It's on the bottom. Be true to who you are. Fear will not stop you from shining. And I was just talking about that fear. Wow, Spirit. You know, yeah. You know, again, I see how it's like these rainbow colors, like the clouds here. I think you might felt like maybe you've always had like clouds over your head. Like you've always, it's like you feel like you've probably been followed by a dark cloud. But if you're a rainbow child, which I believe you're a rainbow child, if that's the case, then negative energies are going to want to keep you from knowing who you truly are, because you're a very powerful being. They're going to want to keep you in your ego. They want to keep you still. They want to keep you trapped. They want to keep you from being unique, because like you see this, it's a unicorn with butterfly wings. Like, how unique is that? But fear, you know, fear is not going to stop you. You know, it might take you a lot longer, but fear is not going to stop you. You need to find some ways to quiet your life down, to calm your life down, to slow things down for yourself. Look, and on the bottom is relax. Okay, so what's here? Longing. I offer my deepest desires. Change me, divine beloved, into one who offers you my deepest longings, trusting you know exactly how to handle them. Let me know my wholeness and freedom most of all. This is all that alchemy. The cosmic ordering. You know, this kind of reminds me of Callie here. Callie is a protector. She could be one of your guides. Okay, let's see here. Your desires are within reach. Faith, patience, excitement, relief. You know, this came out in the last reading too, in the bottom, group 2. You know, you might resonate with group 1 or group 2. Okay, there's another one here. Okay. All right, let's pull out a few of these here. Well, the sacral chakra. They'll just be your inner voice. Yeah, they're really encouraging you to, you know, oh, look, stuck. Look, you're stuck. Okay. Okay, let's find out what's going on here. Let's see here. Go on an adventure. You know, you have 2 Pegasus slash unicorn horses here. Go on an adventure. Today is a day to try something daring. You know, they're really talking about slowing things down and finding like who you truly are. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're like in the rat race of life. You know what I mean? Hold on a moment, Star. My dog needs to go out. Clarity is my birthright. Exactly. Seeing how she's in this lotus position of praying. And then you have the lotus flower here. Change me, divine beloved, into one who remembers in every moment my true self. Love, light, wisdom, and divinity. Absolutely, Spirit. Ooh, it's in reverse. So you have Jophiel, and in reverse it is caretaker, chaotic, self-critical, and shame. These are the things that's going to help clear your karmic board. These are the things that you're working through. You see all this pink, and you got the pink thing here. This is, she's in a lotus position too. And all around her it says, I am enough. I am loved. I matter. And I can. But it's in reverse. So I think these thoughts, these fears are keeping you trapped, keeping you stuck in this energy more than you want to be. Oh, look, that's in reverse too. See the power of prayer. See, she's even got the praying hands here, just like she's got the praying hands here. But again, it's in reverse. Resistant, doubt, deny, and attachment. There's some healing that needs to be done with this second chakra here. It says, just be your inner voice. It seems like you're struggling with trusting yourself. And that's what's keeping you stuck in this energy. And right under, once you get unstuck, look at this, what shows up at the sixth chakra, the third eye. And then it goes to your crown. So once you remove this stuck energy here, it's all about this self-love. It's the foundation. You need to find the strength of love within you. And know that you are enough. And then your sixth and your seventh chakra, and then your soul star will all be activated. They want to activate this. They want to activate this. There's something going on here at your second chakra, though. So, it's your solar too, because your solar is around your stomach, and that is where you have like all your empowerment, your self-empowerment. Okay, they want me to bring out this deck for you here. There's a stone here that they said will help you, that you can work with. Okay, so we'll just bring that out after. So let's just bring out some tarot cards here and find out what's going on here. Let's give you a little bit more insight here. It's, dealing with karma, it's the universe. Look, the universe is with you. And you see all these colors, you're definitely a rainbow child. This is why you're struggling so much. Okay. You got to be careful because, like you could be having these trickster spirits around you. So when you're in these low moments, they could be coming in here and feeding things into your mind of, so you don't have the clarity, you know what I mean? But you're going to, when you go into like a meditation and find time in because I see that, even the card longing here, look, and right underneath, it's about trust. in these days, you're like, you're going through these longing period. You know, that's completely normal though, because going through these karmic cycles, it's really difficult. And this is where you become, you know, and I was saying how like it feels like some days you're like in this like heavy darkness, like a cloud's over you, and then other days you feel like lighter. But what happens when you're clearing like karma, what happens is like, and when you're in those lighter moods, that's where you're like expanding and you're, you know, in the divine, you're alchemizing, right? And then on those days that you're in those darkness and dealing with all that, you know, fear and karma and ego junk, um, and then you, when you move into the light, it's like the ebb and flow. It's how like it's how the universe works, right? It's like a pendulum that swings back and forth. So some days you're in high vibration and other days you're in low vibration. And when you're in low vibration and you go back into a high vibration, you're pulling, and when you're in the high vibration, you're alchemizing those energies. You know what I mean? And then you get, you know, you just probably get it alchemized and then you're back into it again. So it seems like, you know, you're always in like this longing turmoil. And then when you're in that, when you're in these dark clearings, that karmic things that you're doing, you know, you're it's chaotic, and it's, you know, you become self-critical, and then you're dealing with all the shame that comes up, it comes with that, right? You know, and that's where, you know, you have a lot of this resistance, right? And the doubt and the deny. And this is how like these attachments can like cling to you and make you stay in that a little bit longer than you should. But always remember, like with all this pink on the board here, like this self-love is really what's going to help lead you through it. Okay, so let's get a little bit of clarity here with these cards. It's on the bottom. Well, the Chariot. Yeah, get moving. You're on the right path, though. See how you have this dark and the light? Again, this is where you're swinging back and forth between the dark and the light. You know, the Chariot is not just about moving forward either. The Chariot is a lot about, you know, coming through all the emotions, like all the traumas, like, you know, dealing with all of that, right? Okay, what do you have here? Page of Cups. These are your dreams, your longing, your desires. Strength. Yeah, absolutely. The moon. These are the illusions to keep you from connecting to source through your soul, through your seventh, sixth. Yeah, these are all the emotions that you're going through. Yeah, see, these are like the days, if you, just like I was saying here earlier, like, you know, the days that you're in the darkness, you just feel really small and not worth anything. And then on the days that you're in the higher vibrations, you know, you feel like this tiger that you can like take on anything. These are all these emotions, illusions. The King of Wands. Yeah. You know, you're somebody that has a lot of great ideas, though. You could be an entrepreneur, too. You know, if you opened your own business, you'd probably be very successful at it. I mean, dealing with all these, but see, the thing is, like, and that's the thing, too. Like, once you get into that heart space, you get into that love, and you do what you love, it will bring you into this abundance. And it'll flow, yeah, because you're coming from the Seven of Swords. Hmm. You know, there's, this is the deception and the betrayals that you're dealing with, all this karmic stuff. You know, like, like even when you sleep, you're holding on here, because you think something's going to come and steal something from you. This could have been a past lover with the sacral chakra here. Like, this is where a lot of the damage is here in your sacral. I notice that they're pulling the same colors out here in this dragon too. Your sacral and your solar. We're going to pull out a card here and see if we can help you out with that. Is there any clarifiers? They said no, there's nothing more to clarify. And look, and the Chariot's back on the bottom. Even though I shuffled and split it, and you get the Chariot again. Oh, look at this, the Empress. It's beautiful. The Empress is embodies all of the queens, right? So you have a lot of beautiful things within you that you're not tapping into. You really need to spend more time self-loving, like loving on yourself. You need to find this quiet time. There's something that you need to do here to believe in your magic. Look at that first card that popped out. Again, see all these rainbow colors? These are, labradorite reflects the northern lights. Is there anything else here? Okay, that's it. On the bottom, diamond, crank up the positivity. Crank up that positivity. Trying to have a more positive mindset. You have to remember too, when you start getting into these dark energies, you need to remember, like, is there something influencing? Because if you're really highly empathic, you could be just absorbing things because you're dealing with all these, like, the hustle and bustle of life, right? And it can really make you believe that that's the illusion. Because you have illusion twice here. You have it with the Moon card and with the Seven of Swords, because this could mean, illusions, right? Okay, let's see here, labradorite. Oh. Few gems are believed to possess more mystical powers than the almighty labradorite, a crystal with all the shimmering hues and awesome mystique of the aurora borealis itself. This regal crystal is here to awaken the wisdom of your deepest self and bring those spiritual depths to the surface. Instead of letting your intellect or emotions make today's decisions, tap into your soul's inner knowing and see what your intuition has to say. Inexplicably, magic is swirling around you, dancing through the sky like the northern lights and connecting you to your divine power. Clarity is your birthright, Spirit. Okay, so they're going to have me read this one, number 12, which is also a 3. Hold on, Star. I'll be right with you, honey. I think she's looking for food, too. Or I don't know what she's looking for. Unique. Look, and I even said you were unique because of the... I knew you were unique. Okay. With confidence and trust in yourself, you can choose to be the most original, authentic, creative expression of all that you are and all that you are becoming. This means giving yourself permission to rebel against the voices of fear, criticism, doubt, and conformity, just like we were talking about. Wow, your guides are right on it. Whether within your head or around you, you can choose to live according to the inner values of your heart and soul. The world needs people willing to live from a deeply heartfelt, soul-connected place of authentic being. Wow. They dare to take the path of integrity, eschewing mainstream values that do not honor the human spirit and undermine dignity, grace, and love. Such people become a source of comfort and light for souls in need. You have it within you to be such a light. Don't be afraid to be different or take what at first may seem a more challenging or narrower path. You have the wisdom within to know the right way for you and the courage and consciousness to live it gleefully. Oh my God, Spirit. And as above, so below. Whoa. I want to cry. This has been beautiful. Oh, Spirit. So really, yeah, like, oh my God, I hope this really helps you. Your guides are really like, they're like really pushing me to like, okay, this is all I have for you. I hope this video finds you well. And I'm going to bid you a good day. I'm going to send you all my love and light. God bless you. Bye, everyone.